All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us for more information. Akshay, first of all, Dubai authorities confirm minor debris incident contained. No injuries were reported. What more details do you have on this?
Well, it's not just Dubai, but if you look at all of the countries in the neighborhood, when we talk about the West Asian region, are seeing these kind of incidents. And obviously, even if you intercept a missile, the debris falls, and many a times it falls on the civilian areas, may result into not only injuries but also deaths of civilians. And if it is in the military areas, then of the military personnel, damage to the infrastructure is obviously there all the time when these kind of incidents happen. It seems that these kind of incidents are only going to increase in the future, especially given the fact that the interceptor stockpiles of countries like Qatar, Bahrain, especially countries like UAE, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they will all start depleting very soon. It's not just Israel and the US forces that will see a plummeting of the stockpiles of these interceptors that may cost, or that rather cost up to 1 lakh when it comes to missiles, and 1 million rather when it comes to $1 million when it comes to interceptor missiles, and several $1 million when it comes to the interceptor system. Now these are very expensive. However, when you compare it to the drones that Iran is sending, especially the Shahed drone, they may just cost somewhere around $50,000. So there is a huge disparity when it comes to the cost of these systems. So small rockets quite cheap. Small drones, they can also be quite cheap as compared to interceptor missiles. So a huge cost being incurred by these countries, and that perhaps is the reason why Pete Hegseth, the war secretary, Secretary of War, visited some of the factories in the US that are manufacturing these arms and ammunitions, calling them heroes of wartime, specifying that production has to be increased and jumped to new levels. In fact, many of these companies, weapon manufacturing companies, who are not working optimally, or the production cannot be ramped up, they may risk losing several $1 million worth of their weapon contracts. So there is a lot of pressure on the weapon industry as well, and pressure to supply them in time, because the manufacturing of the systems that Iran is using can be done quite rapidly and can be upskilled quite rapidly, and that perhaps is one of the biggest reason why this war may just stretch beyond a much more expected timeline that initially estimated by Israel and the US.
Also, Akshay, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has spoken to Iran's president and called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. How active are diplomatic efforts at this stage, and are there any serious diplomatic initiatives underway to de-escalate the situation?
Well, it doesn't look like it, because recently Israel and US both have asked Iran to surrender unconditionally, and Israel has said that they will be launching one of the largest bombing campaign on the missile defense systems, air defense systems, and missile manufacturing factories, and these drone manufacturing factories. So the target will be the weapon industry, weapon infrastructure, manufacturing infrastructure in not only Tehran but other areas of Iran as well. So unless there is initiative from both the sides, it is highly unlikely that Iran will ever be willing to do an unconditional surrender, especially given the fact that this has been called a fight of survival by the Iranian leadership, and any kind of surrender would mean a total decimation of the top leadership at the hands of Israel and the US.
Yes, conflict in West Asia appears to be widening, and it is in fact spreading beyond Israel and Iran. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs, Akshay.